Leviticus chapter 9, verses 1 to 24. I am reading from the New Revised Standard Version, the Green Bible. Okay, verse 1. On the 8th day, Moses summoned Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel. Verse 2, he said to Aaron, "Take a bull calf for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering without blemish, and offer them before the Lord." Verse 3, and say to the people of Israel, "Take a male goat for a sin offering, a calf and a lamb, yearlings without blemish for a burnt offering." Verse 4, and an ox and a ram for an offering of well-beings to sacrifice before the Lord, and a grain offering mixed with oil. For today the Lord will appear to you. Verse 5, they brought what Moses commanded to the front of the tent of meeting, and the whole congregation drew near and stood before the Lord. Verse 6, and Moses said, "This is the thing that the Lord commanded you to do, so that the glory of the Lord may appear to you." Verse 7, then Moses said to Aaron, "Draw near to the altar and sacrifice your sin offering and your burnt offering, and make atonement for yourself and for the people, and sacrifice the offering of the people and make atonement for them as the Lord has commanded." Verse 8, Aaron drew near to the altar and slaughtered the calf of the sin offering, which was for himself. Verse 9, sons of Aaron presented the blood to him, and he dipped his finger into the blood and put it on the horns of the altar, and the rest of the blood he poured out at the base of the altar. Verse 10, but the fat, kidneys, and the appendage of the liver from the sin offering he turned into smoke on the altar, as the Lord commanded Moses. Verse 11, and the flesh and the skin he burned with the fire outside the camp. Verse 12, then he slaughtered the burnt offering. Aaron's sons brought him the blood, and he dashed it against all sides of the altar. Verse 13, and they brought him the burnt offering piece by piece, and the head which he turned into smoke on the altar. Verse 14, he washed the entrails and the legs, and with the burnt offering turned them into smoke on the altar. Verse 15, next he presented the people's offering. He took the goat of the sin offering that was for the people and slaughtered it, and presented it as sin offering like the first one. He presented, verse 16, he presented the burnt offering and sacrificed it according to the regulation. Verse 17, he presented the grain offering, and taking a handful of it, he turned it into smoke on the altar. In addition to the burnt offering of the morning, verse 18, he slaughtered the ox and the ram as a sacrifice of well-being for the people. Aaron's sons brought him the blood, which he dashed against all sides of the altar. Verse 19, and the fat of the ox and of the ram, the broad tail, the fat that covers the entrails, the two kidneys, and the fat on them, and the appendage of the liver. Verse 20, the first laid the fat on the breast, and the fat was turned into smoke on the altar. Verse 21, and the breast and the right thigh Aaron raised as an elevation offering before the Lord, as Moses has commanded. Verse 22, Aaron lifted his son's hands towards people and blessed them. And he came down after sacrificing the sin offering, the burnt offering, and the offering of well-being. Verse 23, Moses and Aaron entered the tent of meeting, then came out and blessed the people, and the glory of the Lord appeared to all the people. Verse 24, fire came out from the Lord and consumed the burnt offering and the fat on the altar, and when all the people saw it, shouted and fell on their faces. Leviticus chapter 9, verses 1 to 24. I am reading from the New Revised Standard Version, the Green Bible.